Okay, here we go. Welcome to my craft cave. Um, this room was originally the master, and earlier this year, I decided to turn it into my craft cave because, crafters want more space, right? So when you walk in, you see the beautiful chandelier. Love it. I love bling, and gives very adequate light. Um, and then below the chandelier is the ironing, basting, catch-all surface. I basically followed Lori Holtz of Bee in My Bonnet's tutorial on making a surface to iron on. This was, iron. It's gone through several incarnations. It's been a ironing, cutting, sewing surface at one point, and then now it's just for ironing. And I love it because you can, stretch out a length of fabric, a whole width of fabric, and iron it. And then over there I have my cordless arm, which I also love. So I just pick it up and, come over here and iron that length of fabric that I need to get the wrinkles out of. This little project right here is one of the Sew Sampler boxes from, I think, earlier this year. The Apple Crisp quilt that was on the design wall in the first video. I'm going to spend some time basting that tomorrow. And this just makes the perfect little surface. I have a large cutting mat that I set on top of here so that I can pin base more easily. So underneath the ironing surface is bookcases, these little cube ones, and they are filled with fabric on this side. I got some kits and some pre-cuts, and then I've got some cross-stitch stuff and yarn on this side. I haven't really organized everything as well as I'd hoped to since moving it in here. On this end is some photography stuff, some photographs, and also some works in progress, some soap making supplies, which I don't ever do, but anymore anyway. And then on this side is more kits, some stabilizers and interfacing, specialty fabrics, pins and marking tools. This little one right here is full of, has my basting pins, but it also has just empty bags that I organize my works in progress with. And I'll probably do a video in future on that because I did a demo at our quilt show this past weekend on planning and organizing a quilt project. So I'll share that with y'all. This little cart I got at Joann's probably about a year ago, and I'll sort of keep things that are just in progress for an extended period of time. Things that I want to quickly grab from my sewing machine. Let's go this way first. So I have my little arm right here, and if I'm piecing blocks at the machine and need to press, I have the wool pressing mats that I can just press my units right there. So this is my machine area, and until about a week or so ago, week and a half ago, my machine was up on top of this cabinet. I bought this cabinet used on Facebook, and she had a different machine that the insert was made for. And I considered buying one and kept talking to my husband and saying, could you just like make me one? And until that happened, I had it just a piece of thin Luan board that he had made me a lap desk with years ago. I had that sitting on top of the cabinet and my machine on top of it. And I've been having problems with one of my shoulders. And since I had been hand quilting that one project for a while, I hadn't done a whole lot at my machine. And I got at my machine one day and said, gosh, this really is not the perfect setup ergonomically. So I was like, if you're not going to make it anytime soon, I'm going to just go online and buy one for $100. And so I went to work that weekend and got a text while I was at work, and he had finished it for me, and I was doing the happy dance at work because I was just really excited about having that flat surface. And it doesn't fit exactly, he just basically took the insert that the lady I bought it from had and accommodated my machine to it, but it's perfect enough for me to have that flatbed machine. I have a lot of lighting around my machine. I believe in good lighting. I have one overhead, one at the needle, and then one that's on the back side of the machine, some LED lights. I have some machine threads up there on that wall right there, and I really need to get like one more of those little organizers. And then I think maybe my favorite part of the whole room, besides the chandelier, is the design wall. In my other craft room, I had one that was probably half this size, and when we came in this area, I was like, I really want as big as I can get. And so I love it. And my older daughter, who's a interior design student, suggested using black flannel instead of cream or white, and it really makes everything that's on the wall pop. So now I want everything I make to have black backgrounds. This is one that I just finished. It's the Goodness Grows block 5. And this is a pattern that's in the Sew Sampler box this year. When I was making it, I got a little bit of gunk from my iron on one of the blocks, and so I had to wash it, and that's why it looks a little wrinkly. But I just love her designs. This is by Corey Yoder of Coriander Quilts. And then over here is my desk area, and I think I want to I'm probably going to revamp this, but I need to sell a treadmill first, and then once I do that, I will put I have a stitching chair in the living room, and I want to move it into here. And then once I have the desk moved out, sell the treadmill, then I can move the desk into the room that I'm about to go into now, and then I can put my stitching area here, because I just met one of my major goals on Weight Watchers, and the reward to myself was a smart TV. So I want to put a smart TV in here, and then I'll have my little chair right there where I can do my hand stitching. And also I'm hoping to teach my grandsons to sew here shortly, and I figured while they're working on stuff, I could be in my little chair stitching. So since this is the master, we have a walk-in closet we actually had two walk-in closets, and one of them we'd never used for clothing because we could fit all of ours in one. So this one has turned into the big tubs, or my Project Linus fabric storage. And then all these plastic bins are my works in progress, or kits that I'm hoping to get to soon. And they've kind of increased and are now on the floor, and there's some of the other goodness grows blocks. But this is the area where the treadmill is, and obviously we don't use it, and so we thought we had a bar for it a while back, but I don't know what happened. It didn't work out. But my plan is to, when we get rid of this, to put the desk in here and have my desk area in here. Would be great to maybe one day have a long arm machine that I could put in here, but that would be way in the future. So there's my sew sampler boxes waiting in the wings, and I have some batting storage and sewing machine carrier. And then there's my little spring wall hanging that I made several years ago for one of the Quilt Guild's challenges. And then there's a couple of bookcases and some storage. Those containers have my buttons and elastic, things like that. And then when I went to retreat in May, someone had one of these little portable sewing tables, and I knew that for future retreats I wanted one, so I went online and bought one. And I don't really have another place to store it, so it's right there. And then this was another challenge. I don't remember. Oh, it was song titles. So this was Eye of the Tiger. Had a lot of fun making that. And then this area over here is my cutting area. So we sort of did another smaller version of my ironing table to do for cutting. And then I have my fabric storage under there. Sorry about the glare. And kind of, I know a lot of people do their fabric storage according to color. It made a little more sense to me to do it according to, I guess, pattern and then type. But I found that sometimes when I grab things off of there, I don't remember where they need to go when I go to put them back. So, I don't know, I might tweak that. But anyway, I have my longer pieces wrapped on comic book boards. And that was a lot of fun getting that organized. And then this is just another bookcase that has a bunch of junk on it. Not junk, but just a variety of things. That bag down there is a bag of scraps. I don't know what to do with scraps because I don't scrap quilt, and so I just sort of have a view of one day maybe I will scrap quilt, so I'm going to hang on to these. But those binders have various crafts and patterns, like some tatting patterns, my Craftsy Classes patterns, my one stroke painting from Donna Dewberry that I used to do back in the 90s. And then there's some scrapbooking stuff. The canisters that are on top, or they hold Velcro, elastic, and bias tape. Those were, I believe, I don't remember what the occasion was, but anyway, it was one of the last gifts that my mom gave me. So I did use them in my kitchen once upon a time, but I wanted to try to preserve them a little better by avoiding everyday use. So they moved to my sewing room. And then the pegboard, I did have one giant, like all three that you've seen so far as I've toured the room, were all together as one piece in my other sewing room. And then when we moved in here, and then I had room to do actual dedicated, like, desk and sewing and cutting and ironing, I decided to break them up into pieces. And also just because I didn't have a wall other than the design wall that I wanted to use completely for that. So it still needs to be framed out. And like I said in my last video, I'll probably eventually would like to paint in here and get some more pinks and purples going. And so now we're back to the sewing machine. And that is the tour of my craft cave. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.